Welcome back to our Structured Query Language or SQL programming course. We are in session 5, and in session 5 we are going to look at the create tables command. So when we want to create a table using Structured Query Language or SQL, we can see the command there, create table, and then we pass in the table name. But tables have columns, so we have to define the columns. The columns have names, they have a data type, and there's also an optional constraint. And then finally, we see at the bottom, there are optional table constraints as well. So we need at least one column. So we'll go through an example where we will use fairly generic, simple, well-known data types and constraints. We will go into the data types and constraints in following lessons and following videos. But for right now, for this example, we will just use basic data types and column constraints. So we'll start off again at our command prompt, and there is a command called show databases. And what we need to do is connect to one of the databases. So we'll use the use command and type in the database. And now we are connected to our business app database. Here we are back at our database command line. So here we are going to pass the command where we create the table, and we're also going to again pass the constraints and the data types, and that is all part of the command for creating the tables. This is all necessary data. So let's come back in here and we'll pass it. We'll take advantage of the way that we can actually insert some line breaks in here just so this can make a little more sense. So we have the command here, create, again, table, and the name of our table in this case is projects, and our column name here is project ID. It is an integer, and we're going to put a constraint on here to auto increment, and then we have a comma for the next column. Project name is the name of the next column. Varchar data 255. This is a character character data type that is 255 characters in length, and our constraint that it can never be null. And here we have begin date, and that is a date data type. End date, that is also a date data type. We have a cost, which is a decimal data type. Here we're passing in the length of the data type, and again, that is not null. And then we're using a timestamp here, so we're saying the default current timestamp. And then we have a table constraint here called primary key, and we're passing in project ID, and the primary key is what makes each record in the table unique. So and then we're closing the command with our close parentheses, and then using the semicolon as a terminator. And so let's go ahead and run this command. And we can see here that the table was created, and what we can actually do here is run a command called show tables. And we can see here projects is one of our tables, and we can actually do show columns from projects, and it'll show us here all of our columns, column names, the data types, and all of the constraints. So we can see here the primary key for the table. We can see the data types here that we passed in. We can see the column constraints. We can see here any extra functions that are running. So we'll take a closer look at the data types and the constraints in an upcoming video for this session. So stay tuned for our next session where we will continue discussing the SQL language.